Welcome to Hispanic Business Success Stories. We have good conversations with business owners who built successful businesses to learn their story. You know, every business has a story. I'm Homero Galicia. Today we're very fortunate to have with us a husband and wife team who have built a successful business, Felipe and Barbara Truax, who own Border Pallets. Felipe and Barbara, thank you so much for being with us.
Our pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate you taking time. Your story is an important one. So tell me, Felipe, what is Border Pallets?
Border Pallets is a full repair and new manufacturing pallet plant here in El Paso. And we distribute pallets within a 200-mile radius.
How long have you been in business?
25 years.
And Barbara, what role do you play with the business?
I'm more administrative. I do some purchasing. I do all the accounting. Well, not all, most of the accounting. I buy insurance and do safety and compliance.
But you started the business together.
Yes, sir.
And you operate it together.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
So, let me ask, what are pallets?
Pallets is they're used worldwide, and if you see a van trailer on the freeway, more than likely it has pallets inside. Pallets move the world, whether it's clothing, books, food, automotive parts.
And pallets, they load freight on pallets. Because I know they say things are palletized. So everything's put on a pallet and loaded on a truck or loaded in a warehouse. So it's very central to the manufacturing industry?
Yes, yes.
'Cause it's-
Forklifts move anything that's palletized. So if you see a forklift, there's pallets around because that's the way they move product. It's basically staged on this skid. They're also known as skids, and the forklift is able to move them around, load them, unload.
So the pallet allows a forklift to go underneath and lift the load and stack it or load it.
Correct.
Yes.
And so, how big is your business?
We have 30 employees, including Barbara and myself. We operate in a 40,000 square foot facility, all indoors, and our facility is on 5 acres.
And you're located where?
In Horizon City, in the Horizon City Industrial Park.
Is that where you've been all the time?
No. You want to?
We started on Alameda. When we first started, my dad had I guess an office, kind of a little office with like a shed on Alameda, and he lent it to us so that we could start, gathering our pallets there and doing some remanufacturing and repairs there.
And who was your dad?
My dad's name is Albert Coca.
And what did he do?
He moved here from New Mexico and started a business where he sold trucks and trailers, and then ventured out into real estate.
I remember he had a heavy equipment lot.
Yes, sir. My dad is Albert and my uncle is Ernest. And he kind of did more heavy equipment, and my dad kind of stuck more to the trucks.
So you grew up in an entrepreneurial family.
Oh, yes.
And how large was your family?
There's 4 girls in my family. I'm the second. There's Beatrice, and then I'm Barbara, and then Brenda and Bonnie.
And how many of them are in business?
Actually, all of them. My sister B and her husband own Heist Disposal. And then Felipe and I have Border Pallets. My sister Bonnie and her husband Raul Solis own Border Demolition and Environmental. And then my third sister, Brenda, she is a real estate agent, and she's married to Angel Mendoza.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Sure.
Felipe, your family, Felipe, what is your family like?
Okay, very large family. I come from a family of 12. And with a family so big, you have people in all types of industry within our family.
And what did your father do and your mother?
He was a laborer. He worked for Levi Strauss for maybe 25, 30 years before he retired.
And what high school did you go to?
I went to Bel Air High School, class of 85.
Wow. And Bonnie, what high school did you go to?
I went to Loretto. I was class of 86.
Okay. But the neighborhoods, what neighborhoods you grew up in?
I grew up on Montecito, right off of Mauer, right by Hillcrest Junior High.
And I lived on Hilton, right across from the Baylor Optimist ballpark. We never met, though, until later in life, but he says he walked in front of my house on his way to Hillcrest every morning.
Every morning.
So you knew where the pretty girls lived.
Yes. Yeah.
So, so let me ask, Barbara, what did you learn from your mom and your dad?
Well, from my mom, and I wish it would, stick a little more, but she's just a very sweet person, and she just really lets things go. I mean, she doesn't hang on to things, and she just kind of, every day's a new start, and so I've picked up a little bit of that. But my dad taught me business, just everything, the good, bad, and the ugly. I mean, just the struggle. I started working with my dad since I was 10 years old. And my sister B and I would go, in pretty much all summer. And we just learned how tough it is, and just to do what you say, and just, continue to plug away. My dad taught me how to just kind of work through problems, which occur every day in business, and not to let them, take you off track, just, continue to progress. And it served me. It serves me every day.
And you were born here in El Paso?
Yes, sir. Born and raised.
And Felipe, yourself?
I was born in Chihuahua.
Okay.
Chihuahua.
And what age did you come to?
I was 10 years old. 10 years old. Fortunately, that was the time where there was amnesty, and I came as an illegal alien on July 4th, 1977. And was granted amnesty, and I won the lottery.
Why is that important to you?
Because it gave not just me but my whole family a new start, and I don't know what would have happened had we stayed there, and it's been beautiful.
Did you come alone or with your family?
No, with my entire family.
You all came across that day?
Except 3 had paperwork already. They were legal residents here, but other than that, 9. My dad had papers already, but my mom and 9 of us, we crossed illegally.
Why come to the U.S.?
It's the land of opportunity.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
So what did you do with that?
Well, I remember going to starting school, and my parents wouldn't let us watch Hispanic channels so we could learn English. And I loved everything about my childhood. Everything. Very fond memories going to North Loop Elementary, and then Hillcrest Junior High, and then on to Baylor High School. Met a lot of great friends.
And after high school, what'd you do?
After high school, I got a job with Pelican's Restaurant. They're on the Gateway. September 19th of 1984.
Wow.
And I was actually starting my senior year in high school, and I worked there. Jamie Diaz gave me a job, and I was a dishwasher, and within 3 years I was the general manager. Back then, Anthony Duncan, a local restaurateur, gave me a wonderful opportunity, and he entrusted me with his baby, with his restaurant, one of his restaurants, and made me the general manager.
Wow. After 3 years out of high school?
Yes.
You're general manager. Wow. And Barbara, after high school, what did you do?
Well, I started school at UTEP, and it took me a long time to finish. Somewhere in between there, I just thought, well, I don't know if this is the right way to go. I started to get kind of just a little frustrated with just, all the classes that didn't really interest me anymore, and it just took a lot of my time. And I enjoyed business, but I just wanted it to start. I wanted to start something and do something on my own. But I did want to have my degree, so it took me 6 years to get my degree, because I just took my time, and I was still working for my dad at the time, and he kept us pretty busy. So I finished. I got my accounting degree from UTEP, and I'm happy to have it. It's served me very, very well.
So you know accounting.
Yes, sir, I do.
That's important.
Yes, it is.
So how did you meet, and when did you get married?
Well, we met in 1990 at the restaurant, as a matter of fact. My dad always told me, he told all of us, he said, it doesn't matter when you meet, the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. It doesn't matter if they have money or not. It's not important. But you must marry someone who's hardworking. If you don't, you will suffer the rest of your life. And I remember that. And when I met Felipe, what was he doing? I mean, he was working. I had just read about him. They had done an article on him and his humble beginnings, and I just thought, wow, that's wonderful. So my sister B and her husband Chuck introduced us. They were good customers of his at Pelicans on the east side, and we met. And ever since then, I just knew.
So Felipe, where did you get that hard work ethic from?
You know what? Both my mom and dad. Although my mom has always been a housewife, you got to work hard to at home to take care of 12 kids. My dad, like I said, he was always a laborer, and I remember him being such a hard worker, and I learned to work hard at a very young age. I remember telling my mom, I was 10 years old, that she would never have to worry about providing for me things such as shoes or clothes. So I started collecting aluminum cans on Saturdays and Sundays. And the following week, I would ask my dad to take me to Morningside Mall, where I used to sell my cans the week after. And I kept my promise.
So you would use that money for your own self?
Yes.
Yeah. When I was growing up, I had a paper route, and I bought my clothes. And I used to go by a meat store and take meat to my parents. And but that was the way we grew up. So you got married how many years ago?
22 years ago. In October, it'll be 22 years.
So you're working at the restaurant, and you were already finished college?
No. Well, let's see. I finished school in 1992, and we got married in 93.
93.
Okay.
And we started the business when we were dating. We started the business in 1991.
Because you had the entrepreneurial bug.
I did, and Felipe kind of did too, because he was, running the restaurant. Although he had guidance, he just kind of was completely in charge.
So how did this pallet business start?
Well, I think Felipe, you had there was a wine vendor, I think.
Yes, there was we were getting ready to open, and I noticed that we were running very low on a particular wine. So I called my wine vendor, which was down the street, to see if I could go pick some wine up for the evening. And when I got there, I saw a bunch of pallets. So a light bulb just went up.
Because we had talked about it, just in conversation, we had talked about it. And, we knew that we wanted to get married. And the hours that he was working was just, he wouldn't, he was just there all day, doing the accounting and stocking and prepping. And even though it was only open for dinner during the week, he just still was not done till, 1, 2, 3 in the morning. It was just, I just thought, if we're going to raise a family, it's going to be very difficult, to do it this way. So we should try to find another way. And when he noticed those pallets, and he kind of asked a little bit more, and we just thought, well, let's try it. So we did both, actually. He was working, I was working with my dad and finishing up school, and he was working at the restaurant. But during the day, we were starting Border Pallets.
So, did you know what you wanted to do, or you just started picking up? What did you do?
Well, we started picking up pallets, and we found our first customer. Once we had the product, we found our first customer, and it happened to be Age Industries.
Age Industries.
And we, that was our very first customer, and so it went well, and we kept providing pallets for Age Industries, and we just, took it from there, and just kept going.
So what is it to pick up pallets? What was that?
There's a bunch of different sizes of pallets, and they can become a nuisance, if you will, if you don't have somebody discarding them, picking them up, and hauling them off your lot. So that's where the opportunity.
So people get a palletized stock, and once they stock their warehouse, they have a pallet sitting there.
Correct.
And that's the opportunity you saw.
Correct.
Right.
To pick them up and resell them, or what?
Repair them and resell them.
Because they're made out of
Lumber.
wood. Okay. And so, did you plan the business, or did you just develop it as you went?
We kind of developed as we went along, but we've always strategized. I mean, we would, I remember back then, we were just talking about this the other day, when we would come home in the evening after, working all day, and we would talk about, what our plans were for the next day, for this month, for the next month. I mean, we would strategize. And basically, we just wanted to get our name out there. So when I wasn't working with my dad, because my sisters were also helping him, I would go out and just, get our name out there and talk to people, shake hands, make appointments, get our name out there however we could. And then Felipe would drive the truck that my dad helped us with as well, and that's how it started.
So how did you get your first customer?
Well, as I remember, my brother Roberto used to be a sales rep for Age Industries. So when we when we bought the initial pallets, I called him and I said, "Hey, you're in the corrugated business. Can you help me move these? Do you think Age Industries will need them?" So he made a call, and he called me back, and he says, "Bring them." And that's how we made our first sale.
So they've been customers for?
They were customers in the beginning, and right now our facility is a block away from theirs. So that's yes.
Wow. So then how does the business grow?
Boy, it's just a lot of hard work, and more importantly, I just think the customer wants to get what they pay for, and the customer wants to know that you're going to be there, that you're going to do what you say you're going to do, that you're providing a good quality product, and your service is good. They want to be able to get in touch with you. There's just so many things involved, and
But when you start, that's hard to do.
it is hard to do. So I would do. Felipe was more hands-on. I mean, we didn't even have a forklift. We did not have a forklift. Felipe
Did everything by hand.
loaded and unloaded everything by hand.
And you were still working at the restaurant?
Yes, I did that for a couple of months because after a while it
So you'd work pallets during the day and work the restaurant at night?
yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
Yes, yes.
So as you grew, then you learned the industry.
Correct.
And not something you grew up with. It's an industry you developed the awareness of. And so, what were some of the early challenges?
I think capital for sure. Just they're banks. I mean, it's hard for them to. I don't blame them. I mean, you have a good plan and you're hardworking and you're eager, but they're not ready to write the check and finance your operation, because we were just so young, and our vision was clear to us, but it was still somewhat risky. Felipe and I even say we had nothing to lose back then at all. We had nothing to lose and everything to gain. So
So you're recently married, you're starting your married life, and you're starting a business. That's a big load.
Yes.
And children, you had children?
yes.
away?
We have 3 boys. We had Philip a year after we were married.
Wow. And you have boys, girls, how many?
3 boys.
Boys.
Philip will be 21 in just a couple of weeks, and Paul is 19, and Patrick is 16.
And sometimes they help you?
Yes.
They do. Philip, he's there. We have Philip and Paul are away at school. Philip's at University of North Texas, and Paul is studying at Texas A&M. And when they're here, they are definitely involved in the business. Patrick works sometimes in the summer. He's playing football, so they stay pretty busy.
It's a
in the
family
summer.
business.
Yes.
What's it like working together and being partners? What's that like?
You know what? I think it's helped our marriage because I can't be in trouble for a very long time. I gotta ask her something about our business.
We don't really have time to hold on to grudges or some couples, I think it's easy because one will go one way and the other goes the other way, and then you get home and it's like, oh yeah, that's right, we have this argument to continue with, and we go right to the office together, and it's just there's just really not time to let little things get in the way. So it's been good for our marriage.
Because you work together.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And you don't get in each other's ways.
Really.
We haven't as of this morning.
It's funny because we complement each other very much. I'm always looking at the bottom line, and I'm always looking at that. And Felipe takes a good look at that as well. And so when he is usually the one that wants to, buy a new piece of equipment or new trucks or lease trucks or trailers, and I am just kind of watching out for the bottom line, and sometimes he doesn't like what I have to say about it, and he'll explain why, and he's very aware of the numbers also, so we get to have our discussions and sometimes our arguments and disagreements, but we meet about business all day long. It starts in the morning, in our bathroom. We talk, about business and what we're doing for the day, and strategize at home. And really, there's never time when it's off limits.
So how did you come up with the capital you needed to grow at the beginning?
Well, the very, very beginning, we talked about this as well, preparing for this show and just talking about it. When we first started, just very tough times because neither one of us really had a savings that we could tap into and get started with. Felipe was making good money at the restaurant, but we knew that was about to end, and my dad helped us a lot. I remember once it was a Friday, and we had delivered pallets, and of course companies they usually pay net 30. Some will pay on the spot, but that's very rare. So a customer that we were delivering to at the beginning told us, he'd have a check for us on Monday. It was just, God, we were happy to hear that it was going to be Monday, but we had payroll. We had a couple of guys that we needed to pay, and we weren't worried about ourselves at all. We just thought, we have to give these guys something to have a good weekend. They've worked so hard all week, and they agreed to accept $50 each. My dad gave us $100 and said, "Here, we told him our situation, and at the time his business was struggling, and he said, well, here you go. I mean, you're going to get this check on Monday, and you can take care of your employees, but today, Friday, let's just give them this." And we did. And
How many employees did you have then?
Two.
Two. So
Two plus us.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow, that's neat. And so this whole journey of building a business and building a life been fulfilling?
Very, very.
It has. It really has. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to be married to your best friend, and it's also beautiful to run a business with your best friend. we're blessed. I see so many people working hard every day, and I just thank God that He's blessed us with all this after the hard work. I mean, we're such hard workers and so dedicated, and just really want to do the right thing, and to be blessed with this success is just more than I could have ever imagined.
How long did it take you to get to where you began to see that you had developed a business?
I think it was the day that Mr. Albuquerque, my father-in-law, beautiful person. But we had been in business for about 6 months, and he told us, he noticed that we were still struggling, and he goes, you know what? It's time for you guys to shut it down. And that, I don't know what it did to me personally, but that motivated me. So I wanted to prove my father-in-law wrong, and we did. But I think that had a direct impact to me, and I'm sure for you too, back then and now.
We're continuing our discussion with a couple, Felipe and Barbara Truax, who own Border Pallets. As we've been sharing, Border Pallets serves the manufacturing industry with the foundation for moving of goods. The pallet allows the pallet jack or the forklift to lift the goods and lift them and put them in stock or onto trucks for transportation. And so Border Pallets is, how many employees is it that you have?
30 employees, including Barbara and myself.
Okay. And you've got a large facility?
Yes.
In Horizon?
In Horizon.
And you were sharing that in the first 6 months of starting the business, that your father-in-law says maybe it's time to close up.
Yes.
And that affected you.
It affected me tremendously in a positive way, very positive way. It motivated me to find ways to make it work. Not just myself, but Barbara included.
Let me ask you, but he had a reason for saying that.
Oh yes.
Yeah, he tends to give you a lot of negatives when he thinks otherwise.
Oh, I see.
He was basically provoking him to go out there and make it work.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, okay. So he had a motivation.
Yes.
And it worked.
It worked.
So what did you find in yourself with that?
What I found is that I could, although I thought we were working hard, that we could work a lot harder, and we did.
How in the world do you do? I mean, you're a restaurant manager. You know, how do you work harder?
I don't know. You know, from what my father-in-law told me to working with Barbara, you got to work hard.
And you were always working hard.
Yes, I always did, but I don't think we've ever worked harder than the months and the years when we started the business.
Why'd you work so hard?
We had to because we knew what we wanted to do, and we knew that we had to get our name out there. We had to. So much of it was because we didn't have the forklifts, and I mean eventually yes, months later we got a forklift and more trucks, but we just worked so hard because we knew that's what we wanted to accomplish, and really at the time, we didn't have children yet. We didn't, like I said, we didn't have much to lose, and we had time. We didn't plan our spring breaks in Mexico. We didn't travel to Las Vegas with other friends. It was real simple. It was all about getting the business going at the beginning.
What did it take?
Just determination. I think that's one of the things I've always told my kids is, our kids is, you've got to set your goals and do whatever it takes to get there, to accomplish your goals. And it's just perseverance. We would go visit customers that would say, no, well, okay, well, we'll get back with you. We follow up, and well, what did you think about our samples? And well, for some reason, they wouldn't, give us a shot. And then there were those companies that said, sure, the Eureka Company.
Oh, now known as Electrolux. They've been with us for almost all of our existence, except for the time that they closed down their service center here. But they started back up last April. And so they've been our partners, if you will,
Yes.
For almost 25 years.
You supply them with the pallets.
Yes.
So your facility now, what all do you do with your facility?
Like I said before, we're repairing. We have a repairing side and a full manufacturing, new manufacturing. We actually get the bundles of lumber, and we have a beautiful machine, a package saw that cuts the whole bundle in 55-second intervals. It's all computerized, and it's a beautiful machine, and it allows us to work the lumber a little bit faster.
And once you cut, then you assemble? Or?
Yes.
And you have power tools too?
Yes.
And how many employees do that manufacturing?
Out of the 28 employees, maybe I say about maybe 12, 14 of them are piecemeal. They get paid by the pallet.
So they manufacture. And then you repair too?
Correct.
That's another group of people.
Correct.
What is repair like?
It generates a lot of trash, a lot of scrap. When you repair a pallet and you start taking broken boards apart, it generates a lot of trash. But we put out good pallets.
So what do you do with the trash?
The scrap, we were fortunate enough to get a Title V permit for an incinerator. We have quite a nice incinerator, and I think Barbara can share some.
Yes, this is the only incinerator in the region. I think the next closest one was in Waco, and I don't think they have one in Waco anymore. So we work very closely with the TCEQ. And they are the EPA's presence in El Paso. Their agency looks, at us as a federal operating. We hold a federal operating permit, and so we have. There's lots and lots of compliance involved with holding a federal permit, and it's worked well. It's a big job to run compliance, but it's a huge savings to be able to utilize the incinerator, and it protects landfill as well. These pieces don't end up in the landfill. Most of them don't. Some do. We do also utilize heist disposal for our landfill needs, but the incinerator has really helped us control costs.
And that's your job.
Yes.
Watching the bottom line.
Yes.
Pretty much, yes.
So even disposal was costing you.
Oh boy, it's that is a huge cost. Anybody who builds a pallet should have a container where they gather their wood waste, and landfill. Since I'm not aware of another incinerator of this size in the region, that scrap should go to the landfill, and every business knows what the cost of their waste is. It is costly.
But here, the incinerator is a huge investment and a lot of compliance issues.
Yes.
But you decided to make that investment.
Yes.
That was Felipe's idea. He's very, I tell you, he's the one that wants to buy that new piece of equipment and
Why
take the
did you
business.
want to do that?
Because of the high cost of landfilling the scrap.
And so it's paid off for itself?
Oh yes, yes.
So So what other equipment do you have?
Oh, we have a couple of 3-head resaws. We have about 13 forklifts. We recently did something that we had never done before. We've always owned our trucks. We used to have 3 and maintain them. We have 32 trailers, and last July we leased 2 brand new Freightliners from Penske, and it's been great.
That was huge. That was a really big deal for us because they're 2017s and it was a 6-year commitment, and we've never leased anything. We've always, bought it, just, traditional purchase, and it got to the point where we were spending a lot, and we were focusing on repairs instead of deliveries, and we just thought, what are we doing? And Felipe says, I'm not in the trucking repair business. I want to deliver my pallet, know that I can get this truck from point A to point B and successfully deliver and move on to deliver more pallets.
So when people buy pallets, they buy truckloads.
Correct.
Yes.
And
yes.
so you deliver them.
Correct.
And that's why you need the trucks.
Right. And that same train of thought goes with how we service our accounts. We didn't want to deal with trucks. We wanted to make pallets, and we tell our customers, you make vacuum cleaners. Let us bring the pallets to you. You shouldn't have to worry about the pallets. And believe it or not, it becomes a big issue. I mean, you've done all this production and manufacturing, and at the end of the day, you're ready to ship your product, and you don't have the right pallet, or it's not, a heat-treated pallet, which a lot of customers need in order to cross international boundaries. And so that is our big selling point. Let us handle that problem.
So tell me about the heat treatment.
The heat treatment it's a stamp and certification that's required for any pallet or wooden product that is crossing international boundaries. And a lot of customers in El Paso, of course, since we're so close to the border, require that. And so we are audited monthly and regulated by the USDA to provide that service. We do all our heat treatment on site. We have the kilns to do that service on site.
What does heat treatment do?
It takes the moisture content out of the lumber to less than 19%, and thus killing any larva that might be living in the lumber.
Okay. Okay, so that's why USDA is involved.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
So what other agencies, federal, state agencies, you mentioned TECQ, which is Texas Environmental.
It's TCEQ, Texas Commission on Environmental Quality.
You have to deal with them. Who else do you have
Yes.
to deal with?
Well, we're on a program which I find amazing, and it's just wonderful to work with. It's through the Texas Department of Insurance, and it's called OSHCON. Let me see if I can get this right. Occupational Safety and Health Compliance. Basically, they help you comply with OSHA regulations, and it's all voluntary. It's a wonderful program. They basically come in and help you improve, and we've been on that program since 2004, and we work real closely with David Franco, and he's just been great in helping
So
us.
your industry is high risk. I mean, you're dealing with
yes.
saws,
Correct.
you're dealing with lumber,
Yes.
pieces of lumber flying, and so you have to have a lot of safety.
Yes.
And
Yes.
your employees wear glasses and all.
Correct. We provide all the safety equipment, from helmets to gloves to dust masks to glasses,
Earplugs.
earplugs.
Let me ask you about your business culture. How did that culture, what is your business culture?
The culture. You mean the people that we service and work with? And
What is your attitude about it? How do you operate?
well, and Felipe is just amazing when it comes to working with the employees, because I really feel like the employees can make you or break you. I mean, the employees are a critical, they're everything. You have to explain to them, what your goals are. You have to teach them and train them, and our turnover is it's very, very, very low. We've had some employees there since we started. Most of them have been with us for over 5 years, and we've have 5 to 25 years. Our employees have been there, and the culture is you modify to. A lot of our training is done in Spanish, and they're very just they want to learn. They want to learn to be safer. They want to be careful, and they enjoy learning new ways to be safe and new topics. Yeah, but I think Felipe does so well with these employees that we have. We're so grateful to have such a good staff.
And who maintains the relationship with the clients?
I think we both do. We both do. We've never had any sales reps. Barbara and I have always done it, and we'll probably always do it. Why change it if it's working?
So you both call on your customers?
Correct.
And they call on us. I think in this industry, it's a lot about it's a lot of word of mouth. They'll ask someone else in production or manufacturing, who do you use? And who better to ask than somebody who's already buying from us? They can attest to the quality and to the service, and that's where we get a lot of our business.
So when you came over the hump of whether to close the business or keep going, there's some things you started doing that started working for you. Do you remember what those might have been?
I guess learning how to work a pallet.
Yes, and
in the most efficient way.
Yes, how to make cuts. I think that's been a big thing for Felipe. Just making the right cuts.
Yield. It's all about yield. When you're working with new lumber, it's all about the yield, and that's why I love cutting new lumber so much, because it's a challenge to get the best yield possible.
So what challenges do you face in the industry, or have you faced?
Well, let's see. For sure, on my end, I struggle with insurance since it's such high risk. We're dealing with a flammable product, and it's very hard to get reasonable premiums. You really have to run a tight ship and have policies in place, housekeeping and safety. You have to work well with your local fire department to have a good fire safety program so that you're insurable. It's we used to have Hartford in this industry, and Hartford underwriting pulled out of the lumber market, and so ever since then, property insurance has increased substantially, and that's made things a little difficult. So every September, it's interesting what we might find as far as renewals. That's my struggle, and of course compliance. As long as you stay on it, you're fine.
How large is your facility?
40,000 square feet on 5 acres.
Wow. And so, but the industry has changed, and you've had to adapt or change. Challenges with the changes?
I think the biggest change has been this heat treatment certification. I think it weeded maybe some fly-by nights, if you will, for a little while. But I think it set established companies, and maybe companies that are doing everything right. It separated them, but I think that's been the biggest challenge because of on my end, because there's some counterfeiting going on with the heat treatment certification and whatnot. But I think that's.
Have there been new products introduced on the market?
There's always plastic pallets, which account for less than 2% of the market in the U.S. Steel pallets, it's probably not even 1%. But.
And you also distribute other makes?
Well, we'll sell any size pallet. If a company needs this particular pallet for their specific production, we have a design system where we can design any pallet for you. You just need to, come to us and tell us how much weight you're putting on your pallet, how you're going to be stacking your pallet, and we have a design system where we can, present drawings to you, weight, load capacities. It's all really neat because we can help in the design system. A lot of companies come to us and they already have something engineered and designed, and so we just, we'll work with what they have. So, and we've also helped, companies, transition to a different type of pallet that might work best for them if they're open to that kind of change.
So as you're growing and you're learning the industry, you needed capital to grow. So, and you were working off of a lot before you. But how did you find the capital to grow and expand?
Once we started growing and we started building a client base and we had some good solid receivables, we went to what's the first bank was it Bank of the West, wasn't it? And we met Bob Guerra at Bank of the West, and he was impressed with what we had been able to accomplish in a short amount of time, and looked over our receivables, and they believed in us, and we got our first loan there, and more importantly, established a credit line. There's very high costs in lumber and labor and other raw materials, so it was really nice to be able to move forward, having that line of credit with them. Plus, you're financing everything pretty much. All the customers want net 30, net 45, and net 60. And yet you're paying your employees every 7 days. So, and usually lumber, 25, 30 days as well, sometimes longer terms. But yeah, it's really nice to have a good financial institution backing you. And since then we've, switched to United Bank. They've also been very, very helpful. And so, it's nice to have the support of the community.
So your suppliers are lumber companies?
Yes.
And so you buy how much lumber a month?
We buy probably about a rail car a week, I would say. Rail car is about 5 truckloads of lumber a week, sometimes more. Depends how much Barbara pushes me to.
Now you have 3 sons.
Yes.
And they work with you too. Do they work, when they come in to work with you when they're not at school, do they work at the top level or the mid level, or where do they?
Well, Philip got a promotion this year while he was here.
He's your oldest.
He's our oldest. He was in charge of running that package saw that I mentioned earlier, and he became a master of that machine. So he was rewarded for that, and I missed him because when he went back to school in mid-August, somebody else had to pick up the slack.
So he really learned the equipment.
And I told him right before he left, he's a broadcasting major, and I told him, I want you to know that you could run this place tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That good. So what's the future of your business?
The future of the business is continuing to enjoy the growth. After the recession, we made so many changes. We really had to sit down and make a lot of changes and just kind of regroup. And we're seeing the benefits of that. We have been seeing the benefits of it. So we're just really happy to have a new approach. We've taken on a lot of new clients. We also had to make the decision to drop some clients that, they're just, the margin wasn't there anymore. We found ourselves wanting to, deliver the product and make our customer happy. But, at the end of the day, the margin just wasn't there. So we had to, respectfully and thankfully, hand a price increase over. And if it was not accepted, we had to, part ways and thank them for their business. It was very tough, very tough.
It's a bold move.
It was very bold.
Why did you have to do that?
When the margin's not there, it's just not there. And we don't make a lot of money off of each customer, and we work on volume, but I mean, we're all working for that margin. As slim as it may be, it's got to be there, or else it's
So
not.
that means you have to be the master of efficiencies.
Correct. Correct.
And that's what you do.
Yes.
And you watch the bottom line.
I watch the bottom line, and we meet and discuss, you know, what's profitable and what's not, and we'll put our best price out there and provide the best quality and service we can.
So you're constantly vigilant, but you're very hands-on.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
You know everything that's going on.
Everything. And I have, when I'm in my office, I have 32 cameras all around our facility. I'm very hands-on. We both are.
He's in the warehouse a lot. Tell him how many miles you walk every day.
I walk over 70 miles a week, really? Just in our facility.
You have a counter to.
Yes.
You measure that.
Yes.
And you're just going back and forth.
Yes. And he will get. We're not afraid to get our hands dirty. Felipe will cut lumber. He'll get on that forklift, load a trailer, unload a trailer. If it's lunchtime and we need to unload something quickly, he gets on the forklift and does what he has to do. And I think that's helped us a lot. We've never felt like we're not able to just get in the trenches and get something done, even today.
For lunch, what do you do for lunch?
Barbara gives me a hard time because I think we've gone out to lunch maybe 3 times in the last 8 months. We eat in our conference room, and
yeah,
working.
Yeah, we do. We talk about, you know.
You work 8-10 hours a day?
I go in. You know, I take Patrick to school still every morning because he doesn't have his driver's license. Hopefully that changes soon. But yeah, I'm still. My main job is the home. So if something's needed at home, then that's my thing. And at work, it's Felipe. So we come together on both aspects, but I take care of the home first, and then I head to work. So I'm usually not there at 7 a.m., but Felipe is.
Mm-hmm.
So you built a business and family at the same time.
Correct.
Working together.
Yes,
Correct.
we did.
And neither suffered?
No. I've enjoyed every bit of it. It's been a struggle, and I'm so thankful, but it's been beautiful.
So Felipe, what is your legacy of your business?
I think that we should pass that question on to Barbara.
Okay.
We talked about this. I knew you were going to ask, and it's very important. I believe that that our kids know that life is a struggle, no matter what industry you're in. But if you set goals and you plan to accomplish them, you can pretty much plan on struggling, and you have to persevere and see yourself through the struggles, adapt and adjust, throughout everything. Integrity has to be held at the highest level.
So hard work doesn't get easier.
I don't think so. No, everything's difficult. Anything worth having is difficult and hard to accomplish.
Well, you've certainly worked hard for all these. How many years now?
25.
25 years in building border pallets.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
It's a wonderful story that you share, and you build a family together.
Yes.
And your family works with the business as well, your sons. Beautiful story. Appreciate your sharing. So now I know about Felipe and Barbara Truax and Border Pallets. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
And thank you, viewers, for watching. We trust that you've enjoyed the story and that you find it motivating. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching, and good day.